Oh, wait. All right, so I shut the other broadcast down because I don't know what happened. My computer completely locked up and then it literally just shut itself down. So hopefully you can see it, and if you guys rejoin, that'd be awesome. If not, what I'll do is I'll record a show or the rest of the show, and I'll edit them together and repost it later in the day. But I'll wait a few minutes to see if any of you guys can see the broadcast that I have now. Let's see here. Okay. That was really quite bizarre. I was talking about the ancestral river and about um, taking that trek down to the water, and it seems like um, the other. And when I was able to bring the broadcast back, it was not on Facebook. So, I keep talking about moving to YouTube. I am going to do that, but for now, I'm going to keep it all the places until I can get you guys to, hey, thank you, Lawanda. I can get you guys to follow me over to YouTube because Facebook kind of has a mind of its own sometimes. So, at any rate, thank you for hanging in there. If you're back, um, I am going to pick up where I left off. And so let me show you, I was showing you a video that you were listening to about taking that trek. It was in Kumasi and in the Ashanti region. It's the same place where we had the naming ceremony, and I want to share a little bit of that with you as well. But here is something I can show you from the ancestral river. Okay, so that was a really odd layout. Let me see if I can, what happens. This is so odd. But all right, so that picture that you saw in the middle of the screen is me standing in the river, um, and just experiencing a little bit of this rushing water at the place that was the final bath, right? In the places I mentioned in the previous video where the ancestors were taken to be washed and cleaned, right? Because this was ending their journey of a 400-mile walk. They were barefoot, they were chained and shackled, not a lot of clothing, and they had walked 400 miles to get to this place. So, of course, they took them and had them go in the river and bathe and get clean, and so that they could look like they were worthy of being bought. All right, and so we still refer to them as ancestors. We always refer to them as ancestors, but they are not slaves yet because they have not actually been purchased. They've been they were captured, but they had not been purchased by the oppressors and the slave owners. So that was a part of this journey. Another thing that happened at this place of the ancestral river was it was a naming ceremony that we took part in. Two of us that were in the group took part of this naming ceremony, and the name that I was given was Mameya Asantewa, and she was actually Mameya Asantewa was the queen warrior. And I talked about her in one of my previous videos on the trip, and I'll have it a part of this kind of wrap up that I'm creating. But she was the queen warrior. She led the fight. She led the Asante warriors in fighting against colonial rule. She was the one who led the army. And in fact, then after I had learned about her, and the next day, the chief of the region, when they were naming us, based on the day that you're born, the day of the week. I'm a woman, a female who was born on a Thursday, and so that's where the Yah comes from. Men are given names, like I think men who have the name of Kofi are born on Friday. So it has to do with your gender and the day of the week that you're born and whatever else goes into it. So I was pretty impressed with that being the name I was given. And here's a little bit of the celebration or the ceremony that took place right near the ancestral river in the same area on these grounds. Okay, so it took me a minute to kind of get, the whole little rhythm of the beat, but we got to it later. But that was as a part of the ceremony. And what you can't really see from that video are the markings that were on our arms and our chest and back that were circles, and there was a whole other piece of it where there was a ritual that the chief performed, and it was interesting. It was quite an interesting experience. So I look forward to sharing more about that with you as well. Another thing that we did, one of the other places we visited when we got back to Accra, I didn't even show any of the stuff from Cape Coast on today's show, but I did show it along the way, and I will show it to you when we when I put together this kind of wrap up, I guess, story, if you will, that I'm going to do with video and pictures. But we visited the W.E.B. Du Bois. It's a museum now, but it's where he lived. And it was interesting because each time you went to these different places, there was someone there, these guided tours really giving you the kind of ins and outs, or really sharing some of the history with you. And so here is, let me see if I can, I'm going to pull it up a different way, because I think if I don't do it, I don't want to do that weird split screen thing again. So let's see. Let's go to the Du Bois this is a library, actually, I'm going to show you.
His personal library. And it's not, and this is all his stuff.
These are his books.
He came along with every single book in this room.
Yeah.
1,500 books. Du Bois was a writer as well, an editor as well. He published 1,955 books.
Wow.
When Du Bois was coming, he came along with a few of his own books from top to down. The 2 line books is a special gift book from Du Bois to anyone who visits him in this house.
So what she said at the end was the books that you saw at the top, that was those were books that she gave to people, that Du Bois gave to people who came to visit in the house. So of course I asked, well, can we get the books? But I think that obviously was when he was still alive. But there's a lot from the house. There's a lot of history. We got a chance to visit the mausoleum. And so that was something else that was pretty, I guess, pretty special to be able to see. We all had a chance to do the ancestral river. I'm going to try to show you the ancestral video again and see if it will play all the way through. So this is the path to the last bath, where they took our ancestors so that they could be bathed and get all nice, clean, and shiny after the 400 trek, shackled and chained, barefoot, very little clothing to get to this place. They had to clean them up so that the oppressors, the people coming to buy them, their captors, they would be appealing to them. So we just took the same path that our ancestors took to the. Uh-oh. I better not. Let me see here. Come on. Don't. Okay, so I am going to not try to show that video because for whatever reason, it is a problem for the particular broadcast. So I will show it to you in a different form as a part of this entire video that I guarantee you I'm going to put together. So I will try to show you that because that is creating, how bizarre is that? That continues to create a bit of an issue. So listen, all I can tell you is it was an amazing trip. Sorry the show got kind of chopped up. Thank you guys for jumping back on. I'll put together something that will be a little more, that will tie the two things, these pieces together so that it really tells the story of the journey and the experience. And here's something that I didn't know, and maybe you knew it and maybe you don't. But the year of the return in 2019, when people were going back to Ghana, going to Africa, and particularly to Ghana, I thought it was the year of the return was just that year, but that was the beginning. And so in Africa, what the hope is that more of us from the U.S. And other parts of the world, but particularly Black people, African Americans from the U.S. will come to Ghana. And really it's like a movement through 2030, and so I didn't know that until I was there and I saw something on a billboard about it and asked about it and said, oh, that was really just the beginning. They talked about it being, how Muslims are encouraged to go to Mecca as a pilgrimage. It's the same sort of thing for us going to Ghana as sort of a pilgrimage. And it felt very much like that in a very positive way, in a very powerful way. So if you have an opportunity to plan and make your way there, I would highly encourage it. I plan to go back. I look forward to going back. I got a 5-year visa, so I got to go back, right? But no, I look forward to going back to Ghana and also to other parts of Africa. I am glad that my first trip to the majestic continent was to Ghana. I just felt like that was where I would want to start. So, hey, thank you guys for hanging in with today's show. If you caught the first part of the second part, I will put these together. And again, it may take me a little bit, but I will put together this kind of a video story, if you will, with some pictures and some other video and a little bit of track, that I will produce and edit, and I'll post it on all the platforms and I'll let you know when it's finished. But in the meantime, you know what we say, remember, do something kind for yourself and something kind for somebody else. Also, listen, if you are not vaccinated, please get vaccinated. COVID is not over. They're talking about another surge. The numbers are kind of on the rise again. The best thing to do is just be vaccinated. So I encourage you to get vaccinated. If you are not registered to vote, please register to vote. Okay? Voting now, and we say this all the time, but it continues to be true, is more important than ever. And so register to vote. Listen, while you still can, because if we don't step up and do some things, who knows how long that will even be an option for us. Seriously, that's not the hysteria. That is what it is. I mean, I get back in the States and I'm looking online and I'm like, the Roe v. Wade thing is pretty much almost going to be done. I just want you all to know that's the beginning. It is not the end. They're talking about attacking women's rights to use for contraception. You know that the rights that exist for the gay community will be attacked. I imagine that the Topeka versus Brown Board of Education, all of it, right? All of it is kind of up for grabs, and so up for attack. And so I encourage you to register to vote so that you can have your voice heard for the kind of community, city, state, country that you want to live in. I'm not telling you what it should be, but I'm telling you, if you want to have some say in it, you've got to register and you've got to actively vote in all elections, right? From the local level all the way to the top. So that's what I say before we head out. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. I'm glad to be home safe too. And I know that my sisters were worried. I'm sorry that they were a little anxious while I was away, but I would not have taken the trip if my mom was still alive, because that would have been too much for her to take at this point, like worrying. But my sisters are good. They handled it. Guys, I'll see you soon. Remember, do something kind for yourself and do something kind for somebody else. And make sure that you are registered and vaccinated. See you next time.